Welcome to the Terminal Exchange, the official podcast of Nussbaum Transportation, where we share key issues and compelling stories in the trucking industry. I'm your host, Sage Anderson, and you're listening to episode 92, Telling Stories, A Road to Faith and Family with the Garcias. Sek and Sandra share the importance of quality time, how they joined Nussbaum so they can live and work together and spend more time together, something that they were missing a lot of before. Listen in to be inspired by these two road warriors on this episode of Terminal Exchange. Yeah, well, why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Okay, I'm Sandy Garcia. I'm a driver.
And I'm Sandy Garcia, and I'm his wife, and I'm a rider.
Okay. Yeah. Or a co-pilot, or...
Well, actually, no, she comes in very handy.
Yeah.
She's gotten very good at doing the planning of where we're going, where we're stopping.
Yeah.
One thing we're running into is that if you're not off the road by 4:30, 5 o'clock, you're not going to find a place to park.
Oh.
So that's something we take into great consideration. Where are we going to be, at what time, and can we get a safe place to stay?
Yeah.
Because they're few and far between. But she helps a great deal with that.
And depending on traffic, that changes. If there's an accident on the highway, that changes. So you're getting on trucker path, and you're really using your trucker path to say, okay, here's another destination we can think of.
Yeah.
A plan, always have a plan B.
Yeah.
Because we've seen some situations on the road where there were cars, a truck parked on the off-ramp and a vehicle underneath it that hit it
as
going
we drove
off.
by, and like, that gentleman's career is done.
Oh, no.
You know, and one thing I promised myself is I am not stopping inside in a ramp or anything like that.
Wow. Yeah. Ooh. Well, now that makes me sad because I feel like every driver should have a co-pilot so that they can get some safe.
And also, like if my phone rings or somebody needs to look at it, right there. I don't even have to go. I don't even touch it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Because they're very strict with that.
Well, and I know he's safe on the road too, being with him. You know, he's been over the road before, and I always wondered, what state is he in? Where is he at? And now at this time in our lives where our kids are adults and our son is in his last year of college and he lives at home.
Yeah.
So he's keeping an eye on the place for us.
Yeah.
But we were working opposite shifts.
Okay.
We weren't spending a lot of time together. And we thought, well, this is definitely not a way to go on. So we looked and we said, no, this opportunity presented itself.
Okay.
And we said, well, do you think you could do it, living in 34 square feet? And she's like, well, let's give it a shot.
Aww.
And so we did, and it's worked out fantastic.
But he really did spend time researching companies, looking at reviews, going out on all of the trucker sites. And this company, Nussbaum, presented itself in a manner that we were used to. We worked with a very faith-based company before, with us both working at the same place.
That was a very strong selling point for us.
And it was just really nice to see, because I'm not going to lie, the first thing I do in the morning is I pray for our safety, the safety of all the drivers of the company, our family, and that's how we start our mornings. So it's just nice to know that there's a company out there that presents as faith-based, as well as they do. We had a gentleman, we got the message from Brett Nussbaum the other day, the company message saying that somebody had commented on his truck and the trailer because it presents itself as a faith-based company. They stopped and asked if they could take a picture a couple of weeks ago, if they could take a picture of the trailer.
And I was doing a delivery for Caterpillar, and I had one of the Love Matters trucks. And as I was pulling out, there's a homeless shelter right across the street. People were walking out and just stopping in the street looking at it, where I had to stop. So eventually they cleared, and then I was able to go through.
Yeah, they were reading the whole side of the truck. They just stood in the middle of the street. And
and that makes us feel good.
Yeah, it does. And so it's nice to be able to work for a company.
Wow, that's incredible. Because, that trailer in specific it was created during COVID, where there's just like political unrest. People are upset, wear a mask, not wear a mask, vaccine, not vaccine, and so it was created to say like love above all of these things. So
Right.
People all in the office came. We actually made a chalkboard, and they wrote their words and then crossed it off to signify like love above pride, love above expectations, love above all these different things. And it's neat because I can tell, like, when you look at it, you really like it's art. Like, you really have to think about it. You don't know exactly what the message is saying, but like you can feel it in a way.
Yeah,
so
it feels good. It's very
positive.
It's very positive.
Yeah. Wow. Well, yeah.
Now, being on the road has taken some sort of adjustment.
Sure.
Like not being able to take a shower every day so we try to, work it into our schedule.
You guys got those wipes or something? Like baby wipes?
We have baby wipes. We have everything on board that we need. Yeah. And, and we've learned to, I like my space when I shower, and we learned that we're not always going to have that kind of space. It's a lifestyle that's not for everybody, and not everybody can do it. But we've
seemed to have taken to it, and we've adjusted, quite well.
Right.
And when we first got here and loaded the truck up, we took everything we thought we'd need. Well, we ended up leaving half of it behind because we didn't.
Yeah.
And we've been here almost 4 months now.
Yeah, 3.5 months.
About 3.5 months, and so far the experience has been great.
Okay.
If there's anything I need, I just pick up the phone, call, and the answer's right there.
Wow.
So
and it's a positive company. Everybody is so kind and helpful, and
friendly.
All of the drivers, I've made it a goal in my life to wave at every one of our trucks as they go by, and they wave back.
Yeah.
And
well, that's nice because anytime I pass one, I'm in my car, and so I'm always like, who is in there? Like, I can't see you. So you can actually be on their level and give them a nice wave.
Yeah. But, and everyone is just very, very friendly.
Very, very nice.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Awesome. Well, I did want to say thank you again, because originally I came across you two from Brent Nussbaum.
Right.
Giving you a call because you had an extraordinarily clean truck. Right. And so you want to talk just a little bit about how you keep it clean and just your mentality around that.
It doesn't get clean top to bottom every day.
Sure.
It definitely is. The beds are made. Everything is picked up. The trash is taken out. We vacuum a couple of times a week, more if needed.
Yeah.
We just have a small vacuum stored behind one of the seats.
Yeah.
And it's
a
not
dusty
that
environment, though. That's one thing I've noticed.
Right.
It does generate a lot of dust, but if you just keep up with it and maintain it, like those Swiffers are great.
Yeah.
You can clean the air vents and everything else. So we just try to be aware of how much trash we're generating. Make sure you can't get behind the curve on them.
Yeah.
And she doesn't allow it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, our dirty clothes have a certain place. Everything has its place, and I like the truck to be very organized. Might be a little OCD of me, but, like I have said to my husband, that's not our property, and we need to respect it as though it's not our property. They're letting us use
something
this.
that they're letting us use to live in, and we have to maintain it.
Yeah.
That's an expectation.
Yeah.
It's something that I personally wouldn't let it get bad.
No,
because it'll reflect bad on us.
Yeah.
And there have been occasions where officers have come up to do like an inspection, and he'll climb on the side, he'll take a look inside the truck, and he'll go, get going.
Because they just can tell.
Well, if it's so clean inside, you know there's not going to be anything else wrong on the other side of the truck.
And it can be dangerous, too. Like, if you have to make a hard stop and you have a bunch of stuff on your bed, it's going to come flying forward.
Yeah.
Things are going to, the cabinets
well, the storage is great.
Up.
Yeah.
It's just a question of, do you really need the stuff you're taking?
Yeah,
and that's something that has to be experienced. It really can't. I mean, you can't give somebody a list and say this is what you're going to need. It's you learn it by the time you spend on the road.
Yeah.
And you say, okay, this I've used, this I haven't. So
yeah. Well, I love what you said too about this isn't our property, because I've always. I forget, maybe it was in college or high school or something, but they're like, make a mission statement for your life, or just something that you want to live by. And I've always thought, like, if I can leave places and people in a better condition than when I found them,
Right.
then
Right.
that's a good way to live. And I'm not saying I do that all the time,
No.
but it's something.
No, but it's something to strive for.
Yeah, just to realize that, I mean, whether you borrow something from someone and you give it back, I mean, you don't have to do it in the better condition, just the same condition at least. But
Right.
yeah, not only just like locations, but also people, you know, just to leave that good impression, that,
Right,
that kind.
And it says a lot about yourself, too.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
You have that mindset.
Yeah. And yeah, like you said, whether it's an officer or Brent Nussbaum or just a shop tech, like people notice
Right.
and then they just feel more comfortable or more.
Right.
just- Yeah.
It sets a better tone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And plus, if you have a lot of, I always do notice, like when we're passing drivers and there's a lot of junk on their dashboard. I'm like, how can they see? How can they see
How can
through
they
all
see
of that?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Well, let's go a little bit about you guys. I'd love to know, you know, how old were you when you met? Was it-
Really?
Oh, well, we've been married 25?
No. He's never good with dates. We've been married 28 years.
28.
But I met him for the first time when I was 19.
Okay.
Right. We were working at the same location.
Okay.
Right.
So you've
And we
always worked together, huh?
We always have.
We always have. To a certain degree, we've always worked together. I was an environmental supervisor, plant services at Grand Valley State University, and she worked in the...
I worked in the admissions office at Grand Valley State University.
Okay. That's a big place, though,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Well, it wasn't when we were there.
When we were there, no. Well,
When we started, it was like 5,000-6,000,
Okay.
and now it's huge.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a big
We've
institution.
watched it grow up
that-
through all these years, and my daughter graduated from there. Now my son will be graduating this May.
Yeah, next May.
Next May.
Yeah,
He'll be
last
graduating.
year.
Okay.
So,
And
and
so
our
that's how
other
we
daughter
met.
went there. He
Yeah.
graduated from there. I went there.
Wow.
So it's a kind of a family alma mater.
Yeah.
It is for
Yeah.
us, yeah. But no, I have 3 kids. I have one older daughter from a previous marriage,
Sure.
and she's now married. She's
Okay.
a school teacher,
Yeah.
and she has a little girl and a little boy, so we're grandparents,
Yeah.
which is so much fun.
Oh.
Because, you know, you play with them, you go, look, mud, and then you give them back.
Able to see them. What's
Yeah.
nice is we love where we live in Michigan.
Yeah.
I've never been able to see a lot of the country, so this
Okay.
has really been enjoyable for us.
Like
We have
2 weeks ago, we were in Texas,
Okay.
down Dallas, and went almost all the way down to El Paso.
Did you get any barbecue or like?
we didn't.
We didn't. Actually, we didn't.
We
Our
tend to-
timetable was a little strict, so
Sure.
we had a lot of early mornings. Like I
Okay.
said, one of the things about pulling in early for the night means that you're going to be up at 3, 4 in the morning.
Yeah, you're gonna
But
be
we'd
up-
rather do that and find a safe place to stay than, yeah, I'm going to drive till 7, 8 o'clock at night, and then
Yeah.
I'm on the interstate. That's just doesn't make any sense. I'll get up early.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we have that daughter at home, and then we have a daughter and son-in-law and a grandchild near Spartanburg,
Okay.
South Carolina, and then we have our son at home.
Yeah.
He's kind of taking care of the place, and so far he's done really good. I
Okay.
mean, I haven't heard about any great parties or anything else like that,
I
but he's got
asked
this
him.
huge house
Yeah.
all to himself.
I asked him, who'd you hire to clean the house? And he goes, Mom, you'd be proud I did it on my own. But
Wow.
Yeah, because we're road warriors,
Yep.
so we're out 6 to 8 weeks at a time.
Wow.
And
did you decide that because you're like, okay, this is a goal to like we can make this much money together, or we just want to give it a try?
money really was not a consideration for us. It was
Okay.
more spending time together.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the reason we're here,
Wow.
is that we can spend time together. It's
Wow.
not, yeah, the money's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to definitely not pass it up,
Sure.
and I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
And I'm also very grateful that the company decides to reward their good drivers. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if you do things the right way, if you do what you're told, if you feel what you're supposed to, if you stay on your route, if you're never late,
Yeah.
you know, we will reward you for that.
Yeah.
And that means a lot.
that's very positive.
It's very positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've never had that where I worked before.
Mm.
You were just expected to come in and do your job, and here you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's good to hear because some people they just really want to be their own boss, and so they don't want to have to hit those certain markers. You know, they just
Yeah.
want to do it.
We're more the type of people that strive.
That's
for
right. Like
that.
performance ratings.
Yeah.
They come out every Tuesday.
Okay.
And
He's
I
always
watch
waiting.
mine like a hawk. I'm like, a 9.4 on this? No. This isn't good. I want straight 10s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not that he strives to be perfect or we strive to be that way. It's just this company has presented itself. If you do good for us, we will do good for you.
Do good for you.
And
So
Yeah.
we'll do our part. You all are doing your part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can't expect any less. And when I spoke to the recruiter, I believe his name was Caleb.
Okay.
Everything he laid out has happened 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they didn't oversell or anything else like that, or promise you something and then no, it didn't turn true. No, everything has been straight, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. I was in recruiting for about a year or so, and I always tried to almost like undersell, because it's like, let's tell you all the bad things that could possibly go wrong, so you're aware and you know. But let's also, talk about the good things too.
It is. It was not a decision of finance. He went flex where we were working before.
Sure.
And so he's at an age where retirement is an option for him.
Sure.
I have 9 years to go yet. So it's not an option. We knew that one of us was going to be working until it was time for me to retire.
Sure.
We have retirement savings and so forth, but
So it really wasn't a monetary decision.
it wasn't.
It was more of a personal decision.
Right.
Which sort of makes the way we look at life on the road. Some people say, "What, you're spending 8 weeks out there? How can you do that?" And it's like, actually, when we're home,
Because
when
we're
spend a couple of days, we spend a couple of days at home. It's like we want to be back out on the road. We want to see something different.
We've spent more time together in the last 3.5 months than we have probably in the last 10 years.
Well, we've always worked separate shifts. I'd work in the morning, be home by 3, 4 o'clock. That's when she'd be ready to go to work.
Right.
And then she comes home 10 o'clock at night. I'm already almost in bed or getting ready to go, so we weren't spending any of that quality time.
And then when he did go to partial retirement, he found himself just sitting there waiting for me to get home at night. By the time I got home at night, I was tired, ready for bed.
Yeah.
And when your kids and your family are young, there's no option to do that. They need to be in school, and that wasn't an option.
It's a lot to keep you busy, but like that empty nester syndrome, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
You look around and you go,
Where'd they
I
all
don't have
go?
to take anybody to school today. I don't have to.
Yeah. So how did you land in I know you said you were a driver before, but how did you get back to that driving field? Like, what led you to search that job?
He never really left.
I never really left the field. I went over the road for 1 year for another company, but my kids were young, and it's very hard to be gone, for a couple of weeks and then be back home for just 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
So they weren't really doing very well themselves. So I turned around and I got a job where I was home every night.
Okay.
So I was driving a straight day cab.
Sure.
And I'd go to work in the morning, but I'd be home at night. And then she'd be working and I'd be taking care of the kids. So the family responsibility pretty much dictated what we were doing. Like now.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden everybody's gone. We're not
needed any longer.
We're not getting any younger. There's a lot of the country that she hasn't seen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I've seen it. It's beautiful. Let's go out there.
Yeah.
And so here we are.
So have you taken any, because you get your 34-hour resets, right, that hopefully are a little bit longer than 34 hours. Have you used your resets to explore at all? We
haven't really explored. We really for us, it's just as we're driving along, experiencing the scenery and the lifestyles. Like whenever I thought of Illinois, and I know we're only the next state over Michigan, and I always was Chicago, so I thought all of Illinois was like Chicago. I know. I'm from Allendale, Michigan. It's a small town, and
it's right outside of Grand Rapids.
Sure,
but I haven't. I've been south, and now we do like to go south, because when we did get a trip to South Carolina, our daughter and our grandson and her husband were able to come have dinner with us.
Yeah.
So it was wonderful.
So if we can get a reset in that area, that'd be something that, that we'd go ahead and do.
Yeah, because it's a long time in between visits with the grandbabies. And so that really excited me. I hadn't seen them in like 4 months. So when you're 18 months old, that you do a lot of growing in that time. So that's really nice. But we went to Colorado kind of near when we first started.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was beautiful. I've never been west.
Okay.
So he did say to Matt Zimmerman, if my wife's never been west, if you can get us some trips west. So we're looking forward to more
Portland,
of them.
Seattle, that area. That's very beautiful. Idaho's beautiful.
Yeah.
Never been.
Telling her. Well, she went through Alabama one time, and all I heard for the next couple of days is, hey, when we're not doing this anymore, this is where we're living.
And I'm still
I
saying
live in
that.
Alabama.
Why?
I'm
Why
still
Alabama?
It was just a very clean state. It was, I really liked which surprises me, the Talladega area. I always thought that seemed like that would be kind of a really busy area, and I'm sure it is at certain times, but it's just a beautiful state. Yeah. From the minute we drove into it, we stopped at a restaurant to use the restroom, and to when we left the state, I was so impressed. I'm just like, we could retire here.
Wow.
Well, the same thing when the first time she saw Dallas.
Okay.
Oh, Dallas.
I cannot believe this city is so clean.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there wasn't a scrap of litter anywhere.
So what's the nearest city, like what city do you know of in Michigan that it feels different than that? Is Detroit?
The lake. The Lakeshore. We live like 10 minutes from Lake Michigan.
Sure.
And Holland, which when we had our conversation with Mr. Nussbaum, his son-in-law is from Holland, Michigan.
Yeah.
And so we live in that area.
Okay.
We're like 10 minutes from Holland. So I really enjoy the Lakeshore area. And there's really nothing like Michigan in the summer with the Great
Except
Lakes.
for the winters.
Yeah.
Which is the only, downside, because winter, like this year, it hung on forever. Every time we turned around. And then, of course, we got loads up to North Dakota, where it's like 20 below zero. I'm like, honey, what's the weather in North Dakota? She goes, you don't want to know.
Wow.
But that's another thing too is we were driving up, going to North Dakota through Wisconsin, and we ran into one ice storm, and then the other one got a little bit worse, and then it's still coming down. So I'm like, okay, I don't feel comfortable anymore. I mean, you're doing like 20 miles an hour, and people are still passing you, and hey, there's a reason the semi's not going fast.
Yeah.
So we just, I found a safe place, and pulled over, called dispatch, and said, hey, I'm sorry, guys, but it's just not, it's just not safe.
Yeah.
No problem. He says, no, you're not the only driver that, all of a sudden just, took the side of the road.
Yeah.
We understand. As soon as it gets better, you can go. We'll call the broker. We'll let him know and handle the whole thing. And then I felt good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you don't feel that pressure of, no, we want you to risk it out there a little bit. So, no, that doesn't happen here.
Wow.
So, driver safety is utmost.
Yeah.
And we try to do the same thing. We don't get myself in situations that would call for taking some drastic action or having.
We're always watching the weather.
Yeah.
First thing he says to me, where's the weather where we're going today? You know?
There is nothing more nerve-wracking. I remember like a few times in my life where it's bad weather and I've seen this, like a semi-truck or another vehicle just flying through it, and how many miles down the road till it's going to be
on its side.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just like, what are you to do about it?
We were driving through Pennsylvania, and it was extremely foggy in the mountains. For some reason, Pennsylvania doesn't have any straight roads. They're all curves. So we're coming in, and I go around the corner, and a semi had jackknifed on the other side. And the back log must have been 12 miles because he closed all 3 lanes. Yeah. And I'm like, no, that's not going to be us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've also been at a truck stop where the tornado sirens are going off right over our head. They must have been right over the truck stop.
Wow.
And the truck stop actually locked their doors and we're not allowing anybody into the
to go in the building.
So
everybody was outside their trucks with their phones trying to look at the sky to see if you could see where the funnel clouds.
And then when you wake up in the morning and you see the devastation, we actually, I follow this gentleman on TikTok. I think his name is Clark. And
Clark Reed?
Yeah,
okay.
I believe so.
Yeah,
the no drama driver?
Yeah.
We were in Ohio.
People have gotten on the CB with me when they see the truck.
Yeah.
And they go, hey, is that you? No drama driver. Is that you? And I got to go, no, it's not us.
Sorry to disappoint.
But it's the message with it one time.
Yeah. But you see the devastation. We saw a whole Costco building, a warehouse.
Just flattened.
Just laying across the highway. Or he had mentioned one time that he was somewhere and we had lost some trailers. And then we look over and there's a whole nother warehouse. You don't realize, unless you see it with your own eyes, the devastation of a tornado. So we're very observant about the weather conditions that we're in or what's coming ahead of us.
So were you scared that day that you were pulled
I was
over?
a little scared. He was like, well, there's nothing we can do.
And
I'm like, finally, I just resolved myself, yep, it's a God thing. If it's my day to go, because you really...
You would not be safe in the truck.
No.
No. You wouldn't be safe.
No, but it's better than being out, so...
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's just stuff like that comes up. You have to be aware of your surroundings at all times. Mm-hmm. And part of that is including the weather.
Yeah.
So it's just part of the planning. I mean, this can be really strategic if you go about it. It's like, okay, I got to go here. I got so many miles. This is how fast I'm going. It'll take me X time to get there. Let's add a fudge factor in. And then we lay out our whole day, which is kind of nice.
Well, he'll say to me, let's set the alarm for 4:30. So I always set it for 4:15. I always give myself 15 minutes longer because you want to get coffee, you want to brush your teeth, you want to, go into the truck stop and wash up and make sure that your truck is picked up. That's the easiest time to do it at the beginning of the day.
And it takes me about 15, 20 minutes to do my inspection as I'm walking around the truck, make sure I got enough oil, the tires are all right, and
so when
else.
he's doing
it's a lot that if you do it up front, then you don't have to worry about it when you're on the road.
Yeah, so I told him the other day, it takes us 40, 45 minutes from start to finish for us to get on the road.
Yeah.
And you just have to.
And I never thought it was that long.
Yeah.
So I'm a little ignorant. Like when you're doing your inspection, you just go on duty? Or
yes, you go on duty.
You go on duty.
And then your clock starts.
Okay.
And that's one thing that,
Would you have
really live by
10 hours of on duty, but only 8 hours of drive time? What is that?
No, it's 11 hours of drive time.
Oh, okay.
11 hours of drive time, and then you have 14 hours of on duty.
That's a lot.
And every week you have a 70-hour clock.
Yeah.
When that goes through, then you have to do the 34-hour reset.
Okay.
Which we always try to see if we can have it in some place where we can do some, different things. Grab an Uber or, go see something or.
Yeah.
Mostly, though, we just end up cleaning the truck.
He goes and does the laundry while I clean the truck because I can't clean the truck with him in it.
Yeah.
And every week, that was, I think, a question we didn't touch base on with you. Every week, it gets dusted top to bottom.
Okay.
And then what I see that needs to get done during the week, but just your everyday picking up and making sure that things are organized, that stuff is not going to come.
Like I said, you don't get behind the curb.
Yeah.
And if you don't, it's easy to maintain. But if you let it go for like a week or two, and then all of a sudden,
it's a little.
Yeah.
Well, now that makes me wonder, what do you guys do for food? Are you meal prepping? Are you getting things on the road? I mean, if you're out 6 weeks at a time.
Well,
we've actually eaten out more than we have in a long time.
Yeah.
We had these great dreams of, we're going to make this, and we're going to do that, and whatever. After you've been driving for 10 hours, and been on duty for 11, 12, you just want something to eat, and you want to go to bed. You don't want to sit there and cook and then clean.
Yeah.
So we do some stuff, but it's mostly like 50-50.
Sure.
Sometimes we have We have a microwave,
Yeah.
a refrigerator. We have a hot plate. We have some frying pans and stuff.
An air fryer.
An air fryer,
which is
great.
handy. The
Air fryer is great.
Really
you can make
handy.
all kinds of stuff in an air fryer.
Okay.
I've made cheesecake in the air fryer.
What?
Oh yeah, we'll get together sometime. I have.
On that, that's
It's good.
Yeah, no, cake.
Yeah,
You can make that in the microwave.
Wow.
Yeah,
Just a little. All you need is a cup.
Yeah.
You pour some of. Well, go ahead.
it's a mug cake.
Yeah.
and I've just learned to. Yeah, do
So maybe
things
you guys
like
have a
that.
sweet tooth?
Yeah. we both do.
Well, I have a Mexican tooth. I love Mexican food, so he's always determined to find a good Mexican restaurant. But it's just kind of nice, sometimes when you're not close to anything at a truck stop, there's no restaurants around. You kind of get sick of the Arby's and the Hardee's and Taco
Right.
Bell.
Yeah.
And we try to do the best we can not to, eat well and definitely exercise.
Yeah.
Walk around, things like that.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to let yourself go, and next thing you know, you're weighing 300 pounds. It's like,
And we stop at Walmart, and we do pick up like healthy snacks, granolas, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And when he has a
breakfast
half
burritos
hour.
are really good.
Breakfast
They
burritos
fit
are
right
great.
in the refrigerator. 2 minutes in the microwave. There's breakfast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because a lot of times we'll pick out a rest area. There's less traffic in there. I mean, they always fill up at night.
Sure.
It's that's just a given.
Yeah.
But if you get there early enough, you can find a good parking space.
Yeah.
And granted, you're not going to have the coffee in the restrooms, and the restrooms are in there and things like that.
But we have a
they're
Keurig,
quiet.
so we're good.
Yeah.
We have a Keurig, so we're good. And they're really quiet. And there's not that hustle and bustle of a truck stop.
Yeah.
Because we've had drivers sideswipe our mirrors.
They're blowing their horn
taking
at
like
3 in
3
the
hours
morning.
to try to back into a space. And I usually try to find a place where we're in the back. Yeah, okay, I got to walk a long way to get to where we're going, but it's less traffic back there.
Yeah. And some
Because
exercise.
everybody wants to park next to the
Yeah.
fuel pumps.
Yep. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I knew there was got to be something. If you got to keep a clean truck, I was like, maybe they eat out a lot. Maybe they like to meal prep all the
We
time.
do, but we do plan
usually-
a lot too.
One thing we found out is our appetites are not as much as they were when we were at home.
Okay.
Like, she could eat a whole burrito.
Yeah.
Now,
Get
we'll
3 meals
go to a Mexican restaurant, we'll order a meal. We have like 2-3 meals.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's good,
Our
yeah.
caloric intake has gone down, a little bit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
which is kind of good because that way we're not,
You're not stressing your
you're not
body.
stressing your body.
Yeah. Wow. So, what do you miss about being home though? Like, is there anything that you're like,
No.
no, nothing?
Actually, really, no. Just I've always been one for projects.
Sure.
Doing outdoor projects and things like that. So sometimes I do, like right now, some gentleman's coming over and cutting the grass,
Okay.
and I want to do some work. We remodeled the downstairs, put a shower in, put a toilet in.
But what did you say to me this weekend that you missed?
No.
He looked at me and said, I miss cooking. He does do all the
'cause
cooking at home.
in our marriage, I've done all the cooking.
Okay.
And so I miss cooking.
Yeah. Like,
In a kitchen.
what are your favorite meals to cook?
Oh,
Your shredded beef,
my
your
shredded
Cuban
beef.
shredded beef.
I'm Cuban.
Okay.
I was born in Havana, 1955, and I came over in 1962, 63.
Okay.
So a lot of the dishes that my mother made, I learned how to cook.
Sure.
And she loves it. This is like a special shredded beef recipe. It's a little garlicky. You serve it over white rice with fried plantains.
Oh,
and
so
get a
good.
Cuban
Oh,
bread.
it is good. It's
It
so
is
good.
very good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
people,
generally, I like to try, different things.
Sure. Yeah.
sometimes people think that Cuban food is spicy, can be spicy like Mexican, and it's completely not.
It's completely different.
Was it
It's
more
not.
sweet, would you say? or-
No,
It's
not,
more
it's more
saucy
garlicky.
and garlicky.
It's more
yeah.
garlicky and seasoned
Yeah.
wise, but a lot of chicken, a lot of pork.
Okay.
We'll take a whole pig and cook it up. And normally when I was growing up, we would do that for like Christmas Eve. The
Okay.
whole family would get together and we'd roast a pig.
Like you stick a stick in it and it's over a fire and it's turned.
It's a pig.
My dad came up with a better idea than that. 'cause
I can't.
that was always kind of hard to do.
Sure.
So he went out and got himself 2 mesh, and then we lay the pig out, put it in, wrap it up, and then just put it on the fire and turn it every once in a while, and it all stayed together until we were ready to eat it.
Yeah, I can't look at what I can't know. It can't have a face. I can't see its face. Yeah. I'm that kind of person.
Well, we're driving on the road, and she's like, look, cows. And I go, yeah, I see T-bones.
And I think cows are so cute. He's like, I see dinner.
So, yeah, that'd be pretty good with some garlic
but
sauce.
I don't miss. There's really not anything that I can say that I miss about home. We have a beautiful home.
Mm-hmm.
It's out in the country.
We live in the country. We have 6-7 acres of land. We have a very nice home, but we always seemed like, even on the weekends, we were busy doing stuff at home. Mm-hmm. We weren't spending any quality time. Our house is actually too big because I could go all weekend and not see him.
Wow.
And you could.
I'd be in the office and she'd be out in the living room. Or
downstairs in the basement.
Or downstairs. And we wouldn't see each other.
We'd be always busy doing stuff at home. And
now we can't avoid each other.
We actually can lay in bed and watch movies on Sundays when we're resetting and have, have
quality time.
Yeah, some quality time together.
Wow.
So that's been the best.
It has been the best,
Yeah. Wow. So, what are some things that you do together, like on the road? Are you listening to music, or do you like audiobooks, or just talking?
Yeah, we do a lot of talking to each other.
quite a great deal of talking, especially on current matters and things like that. She watches a lot of the news, which upsets her to great deeds to no do.
Well, it's just not a very friendly environment out there,
out there nowadays. But no, we mostly just interact with each other.
Okay. Yeah.
You never run out of listen to.
You never run out of things to talk about?
No.
No, actually we haven't, no.
Even though we've been married so long, there are things that he's probably learning about me that he didn't know.
That he didn't know before because we just didn't have the time. We were either busy with the kids or
we had children because we were older when we got married. Mm-hmm. We met each other when I was 19, but we didn't marry until I was 29. We were in just different phases of life.
Sure.
And he had a previous relationship. I had a previous relationship. And so we were 29. I was 29, and he was 38 when we got married. So we started our family. I was a little older, and we had to chop with the time zone. And so we had children. I think our first one came 12 months after we were married. A year after we were married. 11 months. So
and then life just all of a sudden changed. When you have kids, your life takes. It's like all of a sudden,
backseat.
This is your job now. So get used to it.
Well, and plus, it was really important for me and him to raise pretty productive members of society, good kids, and God has blessed us.
So lucky.
With 3 amazing children. And
we haven't had any problems. I mean, everything's it's really worked out. And we speak to a lot of other parents who they go, oh, my son did this weekend, my daughter's out doing that. And we've never really had to worry about that.
Those phone calls, and we feel so thankful for that. And God just blessed us with 3 amazing kids. Like I said, our son's in his last year at college. We'll see where life takes him. Our other daughter works in the admissions office. She's a director at a university in South Carolina.
Wow.
So they've done really, really well. We're really proud of them. And the kids, that's our family. That's our people. And so it is nice when we can get home and see the one daughter, get down to South Carolina, see our
and we
other
have their
daughter.
pictures all in the book. People come in and go, oh, is that your family?
Wow. Well, talking to you guys, I hear just a lot of humility, just a lot of gratefulness, and it's so refreshing. Like it's just so nice.
We are grateful.
It's been a great opportunity, and we're going to make most of it.
Yeah, hopefully we can do this for quite a few more years, and depends on where life takes us.
I see myself maybe 5, 6, 7 years down the road, maybe retiring, because you can be pretty old and still, be able to drive semi-safely.
Yeah.
Until that time comes, and then that'll be you. Here are the keys.
Yeah, when it happens, it happens, and but for right now, we're just enjoying each other, enjoying seeing the country, and enjoying working for this company because the company we worked for before, we love them. I still love them. I still hear from people there. It's very faith-based company. We just needed the change personally.
Yeah.
And
so we could spend more time together.
Yeah. So it's been a benefit.
Well, any last pieces of advice for, I feel like you guys have some good advice about just time together as a couple.
Do it. If you're thinking that this is going to be not a situation as a woman that you can live it, you can. Mm-hmm. It's not.
It's going to take some adjustment, but it's something that you can. And having a partner on the road is very important.
Yeah.
I drove teams for a while.
Yeah.
And when you had a good team member, the trip went a lot easier. When you didn't, it was just grinding. I can't wait till this is over.
Yeah.
And I have a good partner.
Aw, thanks,
hon. Wow. Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
It was nice to meet you.
Enjoyable.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, this is CJ, recruiter at Nussbaum, and I would love to answer any questions you have about driving with us. Give us a call at 309-268-1370 or visit nussbaumjobs.com. Talk to you soon. You've been listening to Terminal Exchange, the official podcast of Nussbaum Transportation. If you're enjoying our content, please leave us a review. Your reviews help us spread the word about these important topics and invite more people into the conversation. You can rate and review us on your podcast app or visit us online at terminalexchange.org. New episodes arrive every other Tuesday, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow Nussbaum on your favorite social media platforms and be the first to know when new episodes are released. Thanks for listening. Until next time, own every moment and stay purpose-driven.